what I would say, what Igbo needs to do generally. We number one, we need we need an attitude shift. I think one of our problems is our arrogance. So I see as an example the southern minorities, the eastern minorities. I see the way a lot of our people talk to them. You can't keep shouting at somebody and calling him a slave and then expect that he will come and work with you. It's not going to happen. That's one. Number two, we need to realize Nigeria is going to implode, whether we like it or not. It's what I call the Nigerian conundrum.
It's not even. It's about when, not if.
Yeah, it's about when. That's why I said Nigeria. Whether we like it or Nigeria is going to implode. It's not. I mean, given the fiscal situation. So the question is, when it implodes, how do we position our region, given our own political realities? Do we want to go a Biafra where, as a trading people, which is what we are, will now be surrounded by hostile people on all sides? That's a shortcut to starvation. Or do we want to, going back to the map I shared earlier, looking at the blue area, do we want to be in a position to control all the trade, all the way from Port Harcourt to Jamena, beyond the shores of Nigeria? We can do it. We are capable of doing it. But we need to start focusing on the economy. We need to start holding our own elected leaders to account. Because we have a situation where, as an example, the tax laws in Imo State, as we are so, guess when they were passed into law? The Imo Tax Code, 1958. That's the tax code that Imo State is using is the tax code of the old Eastern region. How do you expect to progress when you have not updated your statutes to conform with current realities? Is it surprising now when for everybody to see that Imo State, as an example, is doing very badly in terms of internal revenue generation? Why not? They will do badly when, I mean, people who were adults in 1958 is one of two things: either they are dead or they are almost dead. So the people who passed those laws then, and as in their realities were very different from our realities. 1958 was 62 years ago. So we need to hold our leaders to account internally. We need to understand that Nigeria is, whether Nigeria likes it or not, whether Abuja likes it or not, Nigeria will restructure. So it's Nigeria can either restructure peacefully by us thinking about it and doing it in an orderly fashion, or Nigeria will restructure forcefully by an implosion. But simply because of the threats of jihadi groups, the world will actually come to prevent a Nigeria breakup. Because nobody will want another Somalia. We have one Somalia in the eastern end of Africa. Then on the same latitude, we'll now have a Nigeria that has included. Already, piracy is the Nigeria, a so-called peaceful Nigeria, already presents the worst case of piracy in the world. We do more piracy here, sea piracy, than Somalia does. Imagine if we now devolve into a Bantustan region, the way Somalia has done. People will do everything to prevent that.
And bear in mind, that is the only nation that is not on international or intranational conflict that has so many terror groups that they give to the world. So many terror groups, ranging from Boko Haram to the fourth one in the whole world. That's the Fulani herdsmen. You know, it's
in conflict studies again. I always point to this. I mean, I do that's what I do. I run SBM Intelligence, so we do geopolitics. All of the talk about Africa in conflict studies in the West now It's about the Sahel. So which means that any military intervention will be geared towards preserving status quo. It's something we must be realistic about.
Because they are also, and that's why sometimes some of us and those people in the new struggle, when they make some inquiries and inroads and they meet blocks, they will go back and say, "Oh, these people we have been sabotaged." But the reality is just what you said.
It's geopolitics.
No nation would actually open their eyes and want to come openly to support what was going to hurt their own interests, because it's about nationalism.
Exactly, it's about interests. It's all about interests.
Be it in Europe, I mean, as you rightly said, Syria, 28 million. We saw the ways actually Turkey saved the day. You saw the way they were entering, even with what's it called, Czech Republic. Germany took over like a million people. I mean, come on. England had to shut their borders because of the channels. They were lucky, but still they took the younger ones. Now imagine we're 200 million people. Now the question is, how can this?
Nigeria is not 200 million, just for the records.
No. I mean, on papers, we're not even up to 120 million anyway. I mean,
we're somewhere between 120 and 140. That's again.
Because we're not being
because of the nature of yes, but because of the nature of what I do, I see a lot of consumption data. So the consumption data points towards between 120 and 140. That's where it's point. That's where I think we are.
For me, around 120, yeah, it's ish is. I mean, you know what it means to be 200. It's just that we keep plucking figures from somewhere anyway. But be that as it may, the thing is, what could be the easiest strategy to get off? Because obviously, as you said, as long as you're Chinedu, and now let me replace, if your name is Emeka, figuratively, of course, let me replace Emeka with Southern Nigeria. That has become the trend. You know, I have many people on this platform that will say it is a Republic of Biafra or nothing. And people like me will say, I would rather prefer and go for a Southern Nigeria for obvious reason. You know, Southern Nigeria is if you're under the umbrella of Southern Nigeria, you have less risk of invasion, less risk of having what happened, a repeat of what happened in 1967, because again, you have to now begin to want to get the whole Southern Nigeria probably with middle belt under subjugation.
Yeah, but then let's look at the position of the minorities.
Yes.
If we go back to 1961, the region of Cameroon that is now trying to get away from Cameroon, the Amazonian region, they were with us.
Yes.
The reason that they refused to stay with Nigeria was specifically because of Igbo, because of what Zik did to Ayo Ita back in '56, and that is so we need again as a so-called majority Igbo, we need to try to put ourselves in the shoes of the other people that we occupy this space in. The irony one of the ironies of the whole thing is, for example, the northern minorities are suffering under the Fulani domination right now. But if they look at the alternative, which is a divided Nigeria, they will know that they will cease to exist in a decade or two if we leave Nigeria. So they would rather that we remain in Nigeria with them, so that because of our sheer size, we keep the Fulani busy. This also applies in the West. The Western minorities, the Edos, for example, or the far west, the people of Badagry, would rather remain in a Nigeria so that they will not be swallowed and dominated by the Yoruba. And even our own minorities in the East, is the same dynamic. You understand? So the minorities in Nigeria would rather a Nigeria so that the big three are busy canceling themselves out than a broken up country where suddenly in that country they are truly minorities. And we need to understand this because it will enable us know the kind of deals to reach with the minorities in order to push our interests. You can't just come and tell people, oh, Biafra or nothing. You have to sell to him. We are supposed to be salesmen. So I don't get why we keep shouting at them, Biafra or nothing. No, why not sell the idea? Why should they buy into it? Convince them. Once you can convince them, once you can convince somebody of the viability of a project, he will follow you to the gates of hell for that project. But when he's not convinced, he will fight you. We've not done the groundwork. So it will not happen.
Well, you see, whether it will happen or not, there is one fundamental thing that is obvious. I can't say that enough. The Nigerian state has never worked, and the Nigerian state is not working. The Nigerian state is configured ab initio.
Nigeria is a failed state. Let's get that right.
Exactly. So I mean, there is no. If we all know Nigeria is a failed state, Nigeria, it's you know, it's something that keeps giving you headache. Something you know it is configured not to work. Again, I come back to the point I made before. How can it be, like you rightly pointed out, 47 years after, 47 freaking years, you still have a child that had to score 2, and one who scores 139 will go home crying to the mom, oh, mom, I failed this exam because I scored 139. However, someone who scored less than 10 is jubilating that he or she is getting into a unitary school, and you call that one nation 47 years after.